Hello everyone, this is Sally from thepolkadotlife.com. Today we're going to be making this sweet welcome baby card, and it features some favorite products from the old catalog that are carrying over and some new favorites from the new catalog. This is the card we're going to be making today. My daughter needed a baby shower card. She's throwing a shower for a friend, and the parents have chosen a nautical theme to do their nursery, and so that's what they're going for with the shower. And she asked me if I could come up with a nautical theme, and I said yes, that actually wasn't a problem. And it inspired me to use this set, and it's one of my favorite sets that we've had in the catalog before. And so I wanted to use this stamp set. I'm going to move this just out of the way. So these are the stamp sets that I have used. And the first one is the Sailing Home set. It has stamps and it has dies, and we'll be utilizing both. And that is a carryover, as I said, from a previous catalog. And I love it. It lends itself to a lot of different types of cards, great masculine cards, just anything peaceful, kind of a card thinking of you, get well, sympathy, congratulations. It would be a great graduation card, set sail in the direction of your dreams. So those are just a few ideas, but that is why I chose this stamp set. And then we were just able to place our orders for the new items, and so I didn't have a welcome baby from the new catalog yet, so I'm using Special Celebrations and to use the welcome baby sentiment. It will not be carrying over, but there are a few in the new catalog. And speaking of the new catalog, it is now live, and it's packed with all kinds of great items. I'm very excited about it. I think there's a nice variety in there, a little something for everyone. If you would like to request a copy of this catalog and you do not already work with a demonstrator in the United States, I can only send them in the United States. Just hop over to thepolkadotlife.com and request one there, and I'd be happy to get one out to you. We are also going to be using some designer series paper, and this is from, these are featuring the new in colors, the 2020-2022 in colors, Just Jade, Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Cinnamon Cider, and Misty Moonlight. And so we are going to be using the Misty Moonlight for today's card. So we are going to begin with our card base, and that is a piece that is 4 1/4 by 11. It is scored at 5 1/2. And also then at 2 3/4. So essentially, we're just going to be taking our cardstock, folding it in half. And it's hard to see this Night of Navy even in person, where that other score line is. And then you just essentially are folding that other portion back. We, of course, want to take our bone folder and give it a crease. You have to be a little bit careful about doing that on colored cardstock. And sometimes you even might want to take a piece of printer paper and lay on top of it so it doesn't leave a shiny line. So I'm not going to rub too hard on mine today, but we'll begin there. And then we're also going to be bringing in that designer series paper. This piece is a 5 1/4 by 4. And then we are also going to bring in another piece that is 2.5 by 4. And those will be the pieces that we adhere onto the front. So let's go ahead and start there. You know what? I'm going to bring in a piece of grid paper since we are going to be stamping off today. Not really stamping off, but stamping over the edge of the paper. I like to use the Tombow adhesive, and you don't need to use a lot because sometimes it can, especially with this designer series paper, it's a little thinner and it could kind of buckle up if you use too much. Plus, nobody wants it coming squirting out of the edges. But I do need that wiggle room that the Tombow gives, so that is my adhesive weapon of choice. And I like this side. I think this is going to be really great. It looks like denim. And I think that in all the colors will be helpful. And I ask for your patience with me as I learn to do all these things on camera. Not really what I am used to be doing. But, you know, it's always great to learn something new. So there is our card base, and we're just going to set that aside for a minute and out of the way. We are going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. You'll need 2 of those, and those are 3 inches by 4 inches. And then we are also going to need 2 more pieces of Whisper White, or actually 1 more piece that is 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches, and that's for our sentiment. And then we also will be using a real red layer, and that is cut at 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. So let's start with this one first. And let's get out, we are going to be using our ink. We are going to be using Night of Navy. We are going to be using Real Red. And we are going to be using Sahara Sand. And the die set and the stamp set carried over, but the designer series paper did not. So we are going to just go in and we are just going to create our own designer series paper. And we're going to use several of these stamps. And like I say, we're going to start with the Sahara Sand in this rope piece. And we're just going to make a few stamps, just real random, of that. Just needed a little bit, a third color, not a lot, but a little bit of a third color. And so we're going to put that ink pad away. And let's go then next with our sailboat. And we're going to be using the Night of Navy for that. And I just love these images are very crisp yet very soft. So I like that. And we're just going to turn things a little bit. We don't want it to really align with that rope perfectly. So we're going to give that a little bit of a twist and give it a little bit of this navy color up here as well. And let's see if we have any little spaces that just need maybe a little bit of blue. And I'm going to be cleaning my stamps off with our chamois. Mine doesn't look too bad yet, but they really do a nice job, and it keeps you from having to run back and forth to the sink or wherever, and it keeps your projects from getting messy too. So we can put this one away. And then we're going to be opening our Real Red. And these are the colors of the new baby's nursery. And so we're going to be using our compass, and we don't really, it doesn't matter which way it's pointing for this. We're just trying to get some ink down on the paper. So let's put one here and put one here. We're going to turn it a little bit just so it, now I probably should have done this first to get a little bit of red down in here. So we're not going to force that issue, but we're just going to put that there. And we will go ahead and put a little bit more here. We'll do more of the red. That's 4. And then let's do a 5th. Whoops, sorry, that caught my ink pad. I like to do things in odd numbers. I think that it makes for a nicer layout or makeup of your design. So we have this, and we're just going to just put that on here for the moment. We're going to be taking one of these white 4 by 3 1/4 inch strips, and shut my ink pad too soon. Way too soon, actually. We are going to be using the Welcome Baby sentiment. And we're just going to come in here and put this right in the center. And since these are cling stamps, we don't need to worry about having that extra padding underneath. Let's see. I also forgot to clean off my ropes, and we don't want to make anything get any messier. So we are going to move our Welcome Baby sentiment out of the way. And you know what? For some reason, that has a little smudgy. So we are just going to, I can't seem to get that off. So we are just going to flip that over. I have 3 cats, and so sometimes we get a little hair in places where they shouldn't belong. I'm thinking that might have been the cause. So we're just going to come in here again and stamp that. Much better. Okay, we're bringing in this 3 by 4 piece of paper for the inside. And we are going to put a navy, a Night of Navy sailboat in the corner. And since this is a group card, we are just going to use a small sentiment and place it right above. Make sure that is nice and clean. I'm actually going to scoot this towards me a little bit. And I'm going to just place that right over that sailboat. And that will leave quite a bit of room for her co-workers to sign the card. We will just move it out of the way. I decided to join Stampin' Up! Because I have been I've been a demonstrator for about 1.5 years now. But I've just been doing it just to, for my own personal, as a hobbyist. And I've decided that I really missed, I had taught paper crafting classes for several years in the past, and I've missed that. And so I wanted to get back into that. And so it's been a great choice. I've enjoyed all of the friendships and so on that I've made. I look forward to getting to meet several of you as well. I'm going to take this out of the way since I'm finished with that. And I am going to close up my ink pads. All right. I am going to try something different than I did on my original card, bringing in one of our new punches. And you know, to be really honest with you, I even have to look the name of it up. There are so many. I think it's the Tag Trio Punch, but I am not absolutely certain. Sorry, it is the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. And you can choose, it will do 1/2, 3/4, or 1 inch wide strips. And then you get to decide the length, whether you want it to go the whole way across the card or just enough for a small greeting. And so we are going to place this in the punch, and it just slides in that groove. Now, normally I am a turn it over kind of girl when it comes to my punches. I like to make sure everything is in there properly. We're going to make sure that's slid the whole way in there, and then we are just going to punch the end. And it just makes a nice finished edge to that little flag there. And we're going to do the same for the other side. This part I did do on the other card, but where we're going to change it up a little bit is I want to try perhaps putting some Night of Navy behind it. So this is a 1 inch by 4 1/4 strip. And you know, I found that sometimes you do have to cut it a little bit short of that 1 inch or whatever marking, because sometimes it has a little trouble fitting. It has some guides there, but you might just want to cut it a little bit scant of what you thought it should be. So we're going to do that end. And even if I don't like this, it's going to just give me some time to play with this with our new punch. We all like new toys. And if not, I will save it for another card. So there we have that. And let's see what we think about that. And we'll lay it just right on there. I think I like that. I think it just kind of wakes it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and cover up our boo-boo side. And just place it down. All right. We are going to just lay that aside for a moment. And we have one more piece that we need to stamp on, and it's just a scrap of Whisper White. Now, all these measurements will be over my blog post, and they'll be listed down below. So you are more than welcome to click over, and that will have everything that you need. We are going to use the anchor, and we are just going to place it right here. And as you can see, I do believe I had a cat sneak up here and take a little nap on my filming area, and I didn't know it. So I apologize for that. We are going to use the dies. I like to use just these Post-it flags and get this all lined up and just secure that down. Now, my Big Shot is across the room, and I didn't want to bring it over here and have things shake, so I do have one already cut out for us here. So let's go ahead and put our card together. I actually do like to put this piece on first, just so that you can make it centered And then we will put the other one on, the inside layer on, and make sure that it gets covered up by the top. So we are just going to put this layer on, and need a little bit of a scooch there. That's why I say I like the liquid glue the best. I'm gonna have to pull it back here just to give it a little bit better. It's not exactly perfect, but you know, that is part of a homemade card, and I'm fine with it. So let's bring in our saying, our sentiment, and we are going to put some dimensionals on the back of that. And I know that I will be having to send this through the mail, so I want to make sure that I don't have a saggy middle. So we are going to make sure, actually, I do prefer using this. I've finally gotten the hang of using the take your pick tool to get my backings off. A wise demonstrator once taught me to always just, doesn't have to be much, but put a little bit of your Tombow glue on the back. That way you get that benefit of that wiggle room. And let's just, we're going to bring it down just a hair. And I think that's good. I do like that navy on there. I think that that just adds an extra nice little touch. And then we're going to need our mini dimensionals for our anchor. And those are just going to go one there in the bottom and one just right here at the very top of that. You know, let's just take a peek and make sure it's not peeking out through, and it isn't. And we don't want to put one at the very tippy top because our sentiment is already popped up, and we don't want it to be super, super high on our card. And I am going to just kind of slant that a little bit like the anchor is swinging. And actually, you know, I'm going to bring it over a little bit. You know what? We had some glue kind of peek out underneath there. We're going to take care of that. I think that's good. And then, oop, little piece there too. We will just take care of that. And if you ever do get some extra glue residue anywhere or just a sticky, a nice gum eraser is always, always an essential tool for your craft room, and you will never regret buying one of those. So let's see here. Okay, now that we have this all glued down, we want to bring in our card base. I like to put this end on first so that you can center it a little bit better, and then we know where we need to cover up in the back. And also, you want to keep in mind that you only want to put glue behind this portion. So I know this is the portion that we want some glue on. And I just kind of like to center mine. And sometimes if it has a pattern like this, just kind of use that to help me a little bit too. So we'll just hold this in place for a few minutes. We can always go back in if that seems a little bit flappy underneath and add a little bit more glue if we need to. But now we know how this opens, and we kind of just want to at least mimic that. We just kind of want to make sure that it's going to be covered. So I'm going to kind of use this row. I'm more than good there. I'm just going to kind of make sure that that third full row in of dots is where, make sure I'm putting in the correct one since I made that a little bit crooked the first time. And I am just going to center it here and take a quick peek, and it's okay. So I am going to put this down. And so we could be all done with our card right now if we wanted to be, but I am just going to take a moment and add a few embellishments. We have these new Flowers for Every Season gems, and they have some clear ones. And it just kind of, I felt, needed a little bit of something on the ends. And I'm just going to put the ever so slightest amount, just so it kind of looks like a sign, maybe a nail at the end of the sign or something like that. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool again and put that down there. Well, there we are. Well, I guess I didn't put enough glue down. We can put some glue down there and just take our gem. Let's make sure we get the dome end and put it down. And I probably got a little too much glue around there. And I'm just going to use my tool here to kind of clean that up a little bit. And I might just let it dry and then I can fix it. And the same on this side. We will just take one of these. I just thought these were so pretty. All right. It's just gonna play. Well, we'll just skip you and we'll get one of your friends. And there we go. Now, the other thing that I am going to use on this card, I'm going to just put that right there for a minute and leave this till it adheres down a little bit better. And this doesn't have glue on the bottom of it. We don't want to waste that, so I'm going to put that back in there. And I'm going to bring in this ribbon, and it is from the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack. And I just made a real simple little knot with this. I just thought, even though it was for a boy, it still needed a little bit to soften it up. This is a really nice soft ribbon. It's an open weave kind of. I will tell you, if you're going to be handling it a lot, cut it a little bit longer than you want because it's going to fray a little bit. So you might have to do a last minute trim before you pop it in the mail. But I think it's going to be really nice for a lot of our cards. And I'm just going to take a mini glue dot and just kind of roll it up with this Take Your Pick tool. And I am going to take my ribbon to this, and you might have to give it a little bit of a zhuzh. And I am just going to kind of put this down here. And we could trim it a little shorter if we want. I might just go ahead and do that. And that way we can see our sentiment a little bit better. And I guess it really doesn't need trim too much on this side. But there you go. And this is our welcome baby card. I think it's really cute. Thank you for joining me today on my very first YouTube video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like a copy of Stampin' Up's newest catalog, click the link below and it will take you to my blog, and you can request a catalog there if you don't already have a demonstrator here in the United States. Please join me again and we will have fun and craft and be creative together. Have a good day.